I was inspired by Corey Thomas over there. Corey, of course, you guys know Corey's my son. I was having a conversation with Corey about his senior year campaign, and within that conversation, we talked about goals. And Corey doesn't know this, but he said something that really stood out to me. He said that I want us to win district, right? And that, unknown to him, I don't know if you realize it, but even in that individual goal, it was a team goal. He said, "I want us to win district," and I thought that was pretty good. And me being optimistic, Coach Kwame, I like to think high. And I asked him, I challenged his faith. I challenged him to aim higher. And I said, why not win state? And I knew what he was talking about. He was talking about, he wasn't eliminating Win State, but he had his first tier goal. And that's okay for people to have short-term goals. But ultimately, when someone asks your goal, ultimately, you want to say, my goal is this, right? With confidence. And there are several key components that I call a formula. There's a formula to being successful. And that formula to success is something that I also received inspiration from you guys. On last Thursday, I saw something that's favorable to your success. And I don't know if you know this or not, but I was sitting on the other side in those stands, and at that game, you guys, at the end of the game, you guys came out of huddle, and you had this mighty, powerful roar, right? It was powerful. And I saw you guys jumping up and down, and, you clapping your hands, and I saw this momentum being carried into the locker room. And momentum is one of those key elements to success, right? And there's a second element that I saw, and it was this togetherness, this connectivity. You guys were all on the same page. That roar was a one roar. And I saw some guys, never seen a guy do a backwards kick worm, but I saw somebody doing a backwards kick worm and some kind of dance. That was cool. But the big picture is I saw you guys working together. And that stood out to me. And I knew that I was going to talk about that because it is, again, it was an inspiration to this message. And in addition to the momentum and the togetherness, I just wanted to briefly share with you one of the most critical components in the formula for success. And that is vision, team vision, right? There's a guy, Benjamin May, who said, it's not a tragedy to not be able to reach your goals. The tragedy lies when you have no goals to reach. Listen to me, listen to that close. It's not a tragedy to not reach your goals, to not be able to reach your goals. The tragedy lies when you don't have any goals to reach, right? So if I ask one player if he has a goal, what is his vision, right? And that player said to beat Cedar Ridge. That's great. That's a good vision. That's a good goal. And I asked two more players, and their goal is to win district. That's a great vision. And then I asked some other players. You might have another player who say, hey, I have a vision of winning, of going to the playoffs. That's another great vision. And then you might have three other guys over here that has this vision of going to the state championship. That is also a great vision. But those are individual goals. Although they're great, nonetheless, they're individualized goals. So what I'm challenging you today is to, as a team, always know the highest goal and adopt that vision as a team vision, right? So if the highest goal is to win state, then as a team, we are coming together and everyone should be operating under that same team goal to win state. If your goal is to win district, all right, now you should collectively as a team have a team goal to win state. Because what happens? When you think higher, you're going to rise, right? So it's not a tragedy if you don't go and win state. But the tragedy would be to not be able to think high enough to rise, right? So as a team, again, I want you to know that the highest goal of any individual teammate should be adopted by the entire team, right? There's a scripture, Habakkuk, second chapter, second verse, and it reads, "Write the vision, make it plain on tablet, so he may run who reads it." To me, that's that biblical principle of having a vision, having goals, and write it down, put it before you, right? There's this thing that society has caused a little confusion. Like for me, my dad taught me about being a champion, right? He taught me that, you don't have to wait to hoist the trophy in the air. You don't have to wait to put the ring on your finger to be a champion. Know who you are. Identify yourself as a champion now, right? So it's a vision. If you visualize, you feel like you're a champion now, you're gonna walk like a champion. You're gonna look like a champion. You're gonna talk like a champion. You're gonna start doing championship things, and then what happens? You're gonna start having these symbols are gonna be added, right? You're practicing like a champion, right? Champions don't get discouraged in adversity, right? They don't get rattled. You're becoming a champion, and then those symbols are going to get added. Yeah, you're going to beat Cedar Ridge. Okay, now I'm prepared. I'm going to win district. All right, I'm supposed to because I already identified myself as a champion, right? So as a team, again, always know your highest goal, and always adopt that vision together. Write it down, see it. I'm gonna ask somebody. I'm gonna ask you over here, and I have a cap. If you can answer this question, what dates does the 6A football championship? What dates are they played on? Do you know? Anybody know? Hey, do you know this is already on calendar? Do you know the dates, the time? The schedule is already there. There's nothing stopping you from being there. You're not exempt from it. You're not disqualified. It's just as much yours as it is anybody else's. But you got to have a vision, right? That's right. The date is December 17th, right? You have to visualize yourself being there. You have to know where you're going. You have to know what's ahead of you. You have to know your destination. Can anybody else have another cap and socks? Because this is going to be a little harder. Can anybody tell me what time the 6A Division I and Division II championships being played? Can you tell me? Huh? Yeah, it's hard, huh? Yeah. You want to, before you even start the season, these are things you should know. You should know where you're going. You should know what time you need to be there, right? How you going to be there if you can't visualize yourself there as a team, right? I don't want to go there just to watch somebody else. I want to go as a team. I want to take everybody with me. You have to go there. You have to visualize your band in the stand playing that fight song. You got to visualize your tunnel. And just moving, rocking getting ready to come out of the tunnel. You got to visualize the fans. Texas State, true story. The state of Texas championship game had more fans than over half of the Power 5 bowl games. It's an electric environment. You got to be able to smell the popcorn. You got to feel that turf. You got to want to know that, you're on clear TV, right? It's a feeling that you want to establish yourself with. Just to visualize that, right? So there's a motivational speaker that I like named Carmelis. Carmelis has this really unique concept, this principle with GPS technology, right? And applies it to goal setting. So GPS technology, you have to input an address so that you know where you're going. So that tells me something. That tells me as it relates to goal setting, as it relates to your vision. Like you have to know where you're going. You have to know the address. You have to find out about where you're going. You have to know your destination in order to prepare. When you put in GPS, what happens is it gives you clarity. It gives you clarity when you put in the address. You have clear instructions on how and where to go, right? And how to get there. And that's super important, right? So without a vision, without knowing where you're going, you got to write it down. You have to know where you go, what time to be there. GPS also has this one thing that's super important that I saw you guys have. I just mentioned it. connectivity, right? GPS, without connectivity, it's not going to work, right? You may know where you're going, but I tell you what, when adversity strikes, when you run into some traffic and your GPS is not connecting, right? You don't have the ability to reroute. You don't have the ability to be patient in traffic because it's only really pause for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. But if you don't have that connectivity, you don't know how long you're going to be there, so you panic. But when you're connected, you don't panic. You just be patient. When that momentum, you kind of stop, and you just fight through it, and then you're still going to your destination. My God. Woo! Somebody, I want you to hear me. That connectivity that you guys showed in that game is super important. Have team goals. Team goals, having that single vision is super important. I had a chance to experience, I thank God for my dad who brought me through with all these principles, life principles. And one of the opportunities that I experienced live with a couple of guys in here, who won a state championship. And we called ourselves champs before winning the state championship. We knew where it was being played. We knew what time, right? Corey has his nickname, I call him. I call him Champ because he's won. I actually call him Champ because he won 3 championships, but Champ didn't sound good, so Champ sounds better. I see some other guys in here who have taken that ride, but there's a formula. There's a formula to becoming a champion. I'll give you. How many of you have ever ridden an airplane? Have you ever ridden in an airplane, taken a trip to New York or wherever, right? Right. So there's a principle in that, right? Number one, before you go to your destination, you have to have a vision as to where you want to go. Before you can buy a plane ticket to get on that plane to go to a destination, you have to have a vision as to where you want to go in order to prepare to where you want to go. My God. Oh, man, I'm hitting on something. If you want to go to Dallas, you're not going to put $5 worth of gas in your car. Because if you know where you're going, you can prepare, and we're not putting gas in our tanks. We're riding diesel, all right? If you know where you're going, you know how much gas to put in your tank. Because there's some folks that don't know, and they're going to run out when they get to Waco. But my God, when you, as a team collectively have a vision of going somewhere, you can prepare, right? You have an identity, right? Before you can get on the plane, before you can go to the terminal, before you go through security checkpoint, you have to have ID. You have to have some identification, right? Know who you are. Identify yourself, right? Identify yourself. I'm resilient, right? We're tough. We play all 4 quarters, right? We don't hang our head down when things don't go our way. We got this reset button, and we keep coming. We keep smacking, right? You guys have to know who you are. Before you can get to that terminal, you have to have an ID, right? But almost everybody have an ID. Everybody in the district has some type of ID. Everybody's hungry. They want to, they want to win. They want to beat you. They want to beat somebody else. Come on, let's be real. Everybody has an ID, right? But when you think higher, if you want to go farther, if you want to go beyond New York, if you want to go to St. Lucia, if you want to go to Jamaica, if you want to go to London, Paris, if you want to go to Africa, you have to have a passport. It's a different requirement. It's a different form of identification. You got to identify yourself higher, right? You want to go to a different destination, you need have a passport type of identity, right? You want to be different. Set yourself apart. Separate yourself. Look like a champion. Walk like a champion, right? Separate. You shouldn't look like a junior high, a middle school team on the sidelines. You should look like a champion. You should look like a high school team. You can do the little things to help your big dreams, right? Do the little things. You could, I want to see you guys for the national anthem. Look uniform. Look like a champion. It's just not only a vision of destination, but it's a visual of how you look, how you act, how you respond, right? You can line up. You can line up on the hash, right? And it makes you look sync. It makes you look together. Like I saw you on Thursday, you look together, right? Remember, it's not a tragedy to not reach your goals. The tragedy lies when you have no goals to reach, right? So I want you to understand how important it is that you guys as a team, adopt the highest goal. Aim high for the highest goal, right? I'm not a guy, I'm an optimistic guy, but if I had to live my life based on somebody else, what they feel is realistic, then I wouldn't be where I am. My faith, my vision, my belief, right, is what allowed me to get to where I am. So you have to think high to rise. You have to think higher than where you are, right? So I have this poem that most guys who know me, they understand why it's important and what it means to me. This poem is The Man Who Thinks He Can, right? If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you like to win, but think you can't, it's almost a cinch you won't. If you think you'll lose, you've lost. For out in the world we find success begins with the fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you lose, you've lost. For out in the world we find success begins with the fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You got to think how to rise. You got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life battles doesn't always go to the stronger or faster man. But sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. It is not a tragedy to not be able to reach your goal, but it is a tragedy if you don't have any goals to reach. All right? So I want you guys to be goal diggers. All right? I want you to adopt, visualize.
I have arrived.
The champ is here.
Holla.
The champ is here.
Listen,
The
I'ma
champ is
kill him with
here.
the first verse, and I'ma bury him with the second.
The champ is here.
Watch.
The champ is here.
Thinking that you're better than me?
The champ is here.
Nah, boys, plain to see.
The champ is here.
Haters soft when I step in the room.
The champ is here.
Jaws drop when they see what I do. I'm addicted to success. There's no rehab. Try to cure my addiction, I relapse. They want me to fall now and stop rap. You still hating on me? Homie, we off that. I got that new flow. Okay, let's go.